Hey everybody, welcome to the real United States on this very windy day here in downtown Baltimore, Maryland, on top of Federal Hill. And, paybacks are hell. And that's why I'm here. You may remember in our one of our very recent episodes, the Battle of Baltimore, where Major General Ross and Admiral Cockburn kicked our asses at the Battle of Baltimore. Well, like I said, paybacks suck. And just a few weeks later, on September 13th and 14th, when our good buddy Admiral Cockburn, who burned the White House, tried to take the fort of Baltimore, he was unsuccessful. 2 days of bombardment, and he could not take Fort McHenry. Now, Fort McHenry is actually, a couple of miles over that way, at the outer harbor. We're just by the inner harbor of Baltimore, and he couldn't get the British fleet through, no matter how much he bombarded Fort McHenry. Fort McHenry was under the command then of Colonel George Armistead. Now, Colonel Armistead, as I said, was in command of the fort at McHenry at the time of the bombardment. He was responsible for the defense of the fort. Did some pretty cool things. The magazine, if you will, where they kept their munitions, was not bomb-proof, and he was the only one that knew it. And a shell came crashing through the roof, but it didn't explode. So he had his men carefully go in and remove all the barrels of powder and put them out by the fort walls. And so he did a lot of maybe risky but cool things in defense of the fort. And no matter how much they bombarded that fort, that flag kept flying. So Armistead is credited as being the man who ordered, and I'm sorry about the wind, folks. Anyway, Armistead ordered Francis Scott Key to write a poem in memorial or memory of the events. And that poem that Key wrote eventually became what is today the Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem. So while Key wrote it, Armistead played a very key role, no pun intended, in seeing that it came to be. Now, this monument, if you will, is a cenotaph. Now, a cenotaph is like a grave marker, but it's for someone who's buried elsewhere. And so Armistead is not buried here, but this is, of course, like to mark his passing. It was put here in the early 1880s, and it's pretty nice. The vertical cannons on each corner, the cross sabers. I'm not going to go into all the details about what's written on there because I can't read it from here, and I didn't memorize it all. But there's something different on each side of the cenotaph about the colonel's life, and looking at it, it appears to be marble, and it's got this nice little landscaped area around it. It's all protected by this iron fence, and the flowers growing. Anyway, it's a beautiful setting to, memorialize the man who defended Baltimore's inner harbor, and like I said, really, really paid these guys back for what went down like 3 weeks earlier at Bladensburg. So anyway, you can see people riding their segways here, and there's benches along here, beautiful trees. It's really a nice place to come, and just relax. There's plenty of seating. We're gonna give way and let these folks get through. Hey folks, how you doing? And there's a beautiful view from up here. This is on the very front side of Federal Hill Park, and it's just, this is where we were in the rain the other day when we were showing you Baltimore as being an independent city. So anyway, folks, thanks so much for joining us here on the Real United States. I hope you've enjoyed this short trip to Federal Hill and the monument to Colonel George Armistead. If you got questions or comments, say leave in the comment section down below. I love hearing from all of you. I try to get back to everybody I can. If you're new here, hey, pick subscribe and come along for the adventure, because we got lots more to show you. And as always, well, thank you for watching.
Thank you.